Hi everyone, my name is Charlie Vaughn. Thank you for joining me. We're going to cover the basics of internet security, practical steps to protect yourself, and real-world examples. As our lives become more and more digitized, it's never been more important to have an understanding of how to manage your security online. Cybersecurity is something that we all need to think about, especially with the increasing number of cyber attacks happening daily. Did you know that cyber attacks occur every 39 seconds worldwide? That means that a significant threat is targeting individuals or organizations at basically any given moment. Over $12.5 billion was lost in 2023 to cybercrime, primarily from ransomware, phishing schemes, and data breaches. A single weak password or a small lapse in judgment can have massive consequences, costing organizations millions, damaging reputations, and leaving personal information exposed. And it's not just big corporations at risk, anyone can be a potential target. That's why it's crucial to stay proactive and vigilant with personal information and digital practices. Let's look at the three core principles of internet security that everybody should understand and apply: confidentiality, integrity, and availability, often referred to as the CIA triad. Confidentiality means keeping your data private. This includes using encryption tools and secure storage methods. Integrity is ensuring that your data is not altered without permission, whether in transit or at rest. Availability ensures that you have an uninterrupted access to your data, but also that unauthorized users cannot access it when you're not looking. These principles aren't just for large organizations. They're foundational to managing personal information as well, such as securely storing and sharing passwords or financial data. By managing these principles properly, we can minimize the risk of data breaches and cyber attacks. VPN, or virtual private network, is a really helpful tool to have in terms of internet security. It creates a encrypted connection between your device and a remote server over the internet, which allows your data to be protected. This is especially important when you're on public Wi-Fi networks. It masks your IP address for enhanced privacy and prevents tracking by advertisers and websites or people with more malicious intents. It also allows secure access to restricted content by changing your IP location. For example, if you set your location in Europe, you'd be able to watch what Netflix is offering in Europe and not necessarily in the US because that's where things are located. One thing to note is that it's better to avoid free VPNs as they often don't use as strong encrypted encryption methods as those used by paid services. Now to talk about what can happen when you're not using the best cybersecurity practices. In February of this year, Change Healthcare, which is part of United Healthcare, experienced a significant data breach through a ransomware attack. They had outdated systems because they were newly acquired by United Healthcare and hadn't redone all their IT infrastructure. Um, but they had a server that did not have multi-factor authentication enabled, which allowed somebody to gain access by just having one method of getting in. This resulted in 6 terabytes of medical records and confidential patient information being stolen by a hacker group. $22 million was paid in Bitcoin by United. However, there's no guarantee that the patient information wasn't uploaded. Um, in the congressional hearings, it resulted from this. It was revealed that an estimated 1/3 of all Americans have had their information leaked onto the dark web, and this ultimately resulted in billions of dollars of losses, as well as many people not being able to get the treatments they needed because their claims were put on hold because they couldn't be paid out because they were shut down. This also resulted in a lot of healthcare centers and doctors really struggling because they couldn't receive payments for the treatments that should have been covered. So now to talk about a cybersecurity product that I've become aware of recently that I thought was really cool called Deep Freeze. It's essentially a reboot to restore software where instead of normally writing onto your hard drive, it essentially sets aside a specific allocation table that once you reboot your system is no longer being referenced. This means that whatever changes are made during one session on your computer after a reboot will no longer be there because they're not being written onto the hard drive. So if you think that you've come in contact with malware or anything like that, or you've just made some horrendous changes upon your system, a simple reboot will restore it to how it had been previously configured. Rubrik is another cybersecurity company, and their product is a both cloud-based and on-site data management platform that integrates backup, recovery, and data security to protect from things like ransomware. It does this through automated backups and to the cloud, and those backups are set on fixed schedules and they cannot be interrupted by any attacks. And they also use AI to detect any anomalies and unusual behavior going on in their system. These are just some simple steps you can take to improve your own internet security using strong and unique passwords. Avoid just repeating the same password across multiple sites. Um, Websites like LastPass or 1Password allow you to save your passwords and develop new secure ones. Um, Enable multi-factor authentication whenever you can. It adds an additional layer of security by requiring multiple methods of verification to gain access. Keeping your software updated makes sure that you always have the latest security protocols running. Always be aware of phishing scams from emails that look like they might be from somebody you know, but always make sure to really inspect links, verify that they're what they're supposed to be, and verify that you're receiving the email from who it's supposed to be. Look for any little typos or things trying to sneak by. Use a good WPA3 encryption for your Wi-Fi network. You can also back up your own data files and such just by using Google Drive or Dropbox for anything you want to keep protected. And consider using a VPN to further protect your internet browsing. So, in conclusion, internet security is a shared responsibility. Taking small steps like using good passwords and having multi-factor authentication can really reduce your risk when browsing the internet. Stay proactive and constantly update your security practices as threats are always changing. Thank you.